Good morning, good morning, good morning. Just give me one moment. I do have somebody at the post. Just believe. I do. Good morning, mate. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Thank you. Sorry about that brief interruption. The postman arrived at just the perfect time when I clicked go live, as they have a tendency to do. Let me just have a quick check. Hello, good morning. Hello, everybody. We do have issue 13, ready and available today. It was a close one. I didn't think I was going to get it, but I did. Let me just quickly sort out what I'm supposed to be doing with my other camera. It does help, doesn't it? We do have the rest of the Terminators. So we have what's from issue 12, the sprue from there, and the sprue and the nice new magazine from issue 13, which we do like. And we don't like it when they say they haven't got it and then turns out they've actually got 2 copies. I've only bought one. I only need one. I've just got to get me into the actual chatty chat and hopefully issues. Am I getting picked up now? Yes, I'm getting picked up now. Good morning, Kesa. Well done. Clamorous from the start set, and you've got them. Awesome. That's the first milestone done. Once you've done that, it's the slow, slippery slope down now into the rest of the world of Warhammer, and you end up with stupid amounts of models like some of us, and others with even more stupid amounts. I have no idea what was going on with my microphone when I started, so thank you very much for joining me. I know the first, minute or so has been silence. I am sorry about that. Let's get me up so I can actually see you and you can see me. Don't put yourself down when you mean you did better than you thought. You did well. I'm just going to get the noisy bit out of the way, which is the plastic wrapping. Yeah. Now, if you don't mind me asking, get rid of the paper first. If you don't mind me asking, Kesa, what method did you use? Did you use the layering method, pretty much like what they teach you in this, or did you go for like the slap chop method? With clone rats, I should imagine slap chop might have been the better option because it's just so much easier. But layering will give you a very nice effect. So I'm not going to dish you if you said you'd layer. But well done for getting through them. At least the first one anyway, because I've not actually finished a proper model for my Space Marines yet. I mean, I have for other armies, but my Space Marines are still a working process. You layered. Wow, you took the proper route. If you can get that method down and doing right, that's your key into non-metallic metals and light sourcings and OSL and everything. So well done, mate. Awesome. Well done. Very well done. So what do we get with this magazine? Well, we get the other sprue, which is this one, which has got the missing pieces to the Terminators from issue 12. Obviously, this being 13. And we do get the 5 bases as well. So it tells us how we should be painting said Terminators this time. So last issue told us to put them all together. This issue is telling us to paint them all blue and paint certain bits gold, like the bullets and the aquillas and the hilts for the swords. And certain bits black, like the casings for the guns, and certain sections around the barrels for the guns and the joints in between the legs. And painting everything blue up here. Everything's blue. And then they move on to the lead belcher and do the silver, which is the back and the base of the guns. So back here and down here, they've done silver. They've done the bullets in the middle gold, or retributor armor. All blades and barrels of silver also. Now they painted a little bit down the middle, a little bit down there, and his face. They painted that silver, but they've done the rest of the head white. Pipe silver as well as the venting on the back. And this little thing, they've left the panels up here blue. I say this is the one I've already put together. They've left the circles with the skull on blue, and they've painted the rest of it in lead belcher. And then with the white, they've done the crux terminatus and the rest of the face, as well as the crux terminatus on his knee. So his left shoulder, his left knee, and his face have all been done white. Lead belcher's also been put on the little vent at the top of his head and the little shouldery thing. So that little shouldery thing, they painted all the inside of that silver as well. I have mine out so I can show you where I'm up to on mine and what they expect you to do in yours. So by the time they finish, they will say it will look all like that. They painted everyone except for the sergeant's head white. Sergeant's been left blue for some reason. Now mine's gonna get a different section done on him to make him stand out from the rest, but I've painted them all white. I just like them. I've done retributor armor across the Aquillas. I've even done the shoulders blue like them as well. It's just other things that I've changed. Bolters in my case are red. And the majority of it I've left black because that's the main colour of the army. In this issue, it also goes into creating a Space Marine. I mean, in fairness, YouTube tutorials from GW are not bad. They're not bad at all. That watered down your paints is the 2 thin coats method. It's one of the hardest ones to get right, but it's one of the most crucial ones to get right, is to know how to thin your paints out properly. A wet palette will help with that and immensely. Because you're not so much watering it back down, then you can just thin it out on the wet palette because there's some moisture being absorbed through. So it does work out a lot better if you can pick yourself up a wet palette. If you've got the taste for painting now, just a cheap one if you want to make one yourself. A sponge, a little bit of what's it called? Kitchen baking paper, greaseproof paper, that stuff, and a shallow plastic thing that'll take the sponge. Wet the sponge so it's wet but not completely dripping, and then just put the baking paper over the top. Hey, presto, you've got a wet palette, and it will help you thin out your paints a lot easier. Thank you, Louise. Good morning. Yeah, this is going to be a lot easier job than doing those little kitty cats. Before I go back to issue 12, I'm just going to finish off what's on issue 13. So, with the lore side, as I said, my dulcet tones don't do well with this. So, it covers creating space marines, their superhuman physiology, as well as Bonds of Honor Part 3. So, that's going to be Part 3 of the little story. Once you have built your Terminator squad, they're going to want you to work out what they're good at. So again, they want you to roll a D3 essentially to find out whether these are masters of rapid teleporting assaults, great heroes that have made last stands and memorable moments, or incredibly deadly at long range fire and relentless storms to mow through enemy. So they're going to be known for one of the 3, apparently. Giving us a data sheet for the Terminators. Now, they don't move as much as the normal Marines. They have an inch less, 5-inch move. They are tougher. They do have a better save at a 2+. But they also have a 4+ invulnerable save. So if anything was to hit them with a -3 AP, for instance, they could fall back on that 4+ invulnerable save. 3 wounds apiece, so they do last longer than a standard Marine. Leadership 6 and objective control 1. So in a unit of 5, it's only objective control total of 5. They will get equaled and mashed out of objective control very easily, even by the small Terminators. These, however, do have a special rule for deep strike, so they can teleport in later on in the game further up the board where you would need them, as long as they're 9 inches away from an opponent. They also have a special rule, Fury of the First. Each time a model in this unit makes an attack targeting your Oath of Moment target, add 1 to the hit roll. Now that'll work for both shooting and melee, so that's good. So in shooting, 4 out of 5 will have Storm Bolters, Rapid Fire 2, 24-inch range, 2 attacks, so that's nice. At 12 inches, you're getting 4 attacks, not bad. Hits on 3s. It's got a strength of 4, so it's light infantry, small little units is what its ideal target is. No AP value and damage 1. Not too bad. Very basic, just anti-light infantry fire. Yeah, it works though. I finished the cats, by the way, Louise. I finished them all. All 12 done. Yes. No more brain aneurysms. What was the other shooting weapon for the Terminator? Oh yeah, the assault cannon. Again, 24-inch range. 6 attacks this time. Still hits on 3s. Strength 6. No AP and 1 damage. But the assault cannon has devastating wounds. So on a critical wound, it's causing a devastating wound. So they're not getting an armor save against that or an invulnerable save. I think Guard are not quite the last, but I think like 3rd from last. If you go into my Discord, there is actually a list of should be approximate dates of when they're coming out. Now the only thing that's missing is exact paints in the paint issues, but as far as I'm aware, everything else is pretty accurate as to when we're going to be getting each issue and what's going to be in each issue regarding models. So if you want that, check out on the Discord if you want to just completely bypass all the videos and find out what's coming, or at least what's rumoured to be coming. So we've covered the range weapons for the Terminators now. Melee weapons, again, 1 will have a power weapon, the other 4 will have power fists. Now, the power weapon, which is the Sergeant's weapon, is 4 attacks, hitting on 3+, strength 5, -2 AP and 1 damage. The power fists, however, is only 3 attacks, again, hitting on 3s, strength 8 this time, so a lot stronger, -2 AP and 2 damage. So they're going to take out a more elite infantry a lot easier in melee than they are going to in range. Special rules. That is what we're covering in this one. Which I'm glad I pulled both of the librarian and the captain out, because only one of them can actually be attached to a unit. So the army that I built, I've attached the librarian to. So they can get the sustained hits 1 special rule, which will help out with the devastating wounds on the assault cannon, and just help boost up the volume of fire from the Storm Bolters. If you wanted to, though, you could put the captain with them, and they would then be able to reroll charges. So if they drop in from deep strike 9 inches away, really you want it to be 7 to make it a more reliable deep strike. With him in the unit, you get to reroll that charge roll just to try and help you get there. So it depends whether you want to be more melee focused or more range focused, really. Let's see what they give us for an example mission. Right, so in this case, they're showing you what happens if you put the librarian with them. So rolling to hit with the librarian gets an additional hit if he rolls a 6. So even though he rolled 3 attacks for his Smite Witchfire, 3 attacks on it because it is a d6 attack, he got 1 6. So even though 1 missed, he still averages out at 3 hits because of the sustained hit 1 rule. The Terminator squad firing with the assault cannon fired 6 shots, missed 1, but hit 2 6s. So each one of those 6s will generate an extra hit. So that's another 2 hits on top of the 5 that already hit. So they actually work out with more hits than they started with 7. So that would be how you would look to work if you had the librarian with them. If you had the captain, again, as I said, they've got a nice 6-inch charge distance there to get to him. To charge, first of all, and roll a 4. Not sufficient to get him within an inch, so it's failed charge. Using the captain's ability, they re-roll the charge. This time they got an 8. More than enough to get them within close combat to the Tyranid Prime, which is set over here. If somebody else is attacking your unit with a leader in it, so if you've got the Space Marine Captain or the Librarian for that matter. Good morning, Francois. Good morning. I generally do try and come on early on the Wednesdays because I cover the magazine. I get it. I come back, I set up, and I look through it with everybody who's watching. And I go through it live, so you see my live reaction of what comes in the magazine, what I think of it, how I interpret it, whether I get it right or wrong. If I get it wrong, tell me down there, please, or in the comments if you're watching live. So in this section, yeah, they're going through if you've attached a leader to the Terminator unit. So Captain, 5 Terminators, and somebody else attacks you. So your opponent attacks you. When you're allocating wounds, you will allocate wounds to the unit first, probably the most generic ones. So if it was me, it'll be the first 3 to go would be the Storm Bolters and Power Fists, leaving the Assault Cannon and Power Fist and the Sergeant. Then it'll probably be the Sergeant, and then it'll probably be the Assault Cannon before you get to I eventually start chipping away at my leader. That's what order I would do it in personally. So as I said, it shows there when it comes to them fighting, they've killed 1 Terminator and left another 1 wounded. The captain doesn't get touched until the rest of the unit usually is taken away. Oh, so now they're actually letting us go a little bit whole hog on this. So the burden of command. You will need the data sheets for all your Tyranids and all your Terminated Armored Space Marines. Using the leader rule, choose which leader will join the Terminators, then deploy both the unit and the leader and the other leader to a zone each. Oh. In this mission, you score victory points as follows: 5 for controlling 1 objective, 5 for controlling 2 objectives. In addition, the Tyranid player scores 5 points if they kill a Space Marine leader. So there's 2 objective markers, 2 pieces of terrain. The Tyranid set up completely across the other side of the board. And only Terminator armored models will be in this section. So for this, you will only need the 7 models. You'll just have to make the choice of which leader you would want to go with them, and the other one goes in the other zone. Oh, that's a tough one. That is a tough one. Do you want sustained hits for the range on the Terminators as you're coming into these? Might be a good idea for against the Termagants and the Barbgants. Or do you want the extra liability for charging so you can try and make sure you get in at the Wing Prime and the Von Rhein's Leapers early? That is a tough one. I don't know what I would do there. I honestly don't know what I would do. So So it's just given as an example move and shoot. It's put the librarians with the Terminators and kept the captain on his own. Tyranids going first. They surge forward so that they're within range of the first objective and the second objective. So the Von Ryan Leapers have come forwards and the Termagants have come forward. Both the Termagants and the Barbgaunts have shot at the larger unit, took out one Terminator, and the Wing Primers also come over to join the Von Ryan's Leapers a little bit further forward, more of a you've got to get through me before you get through them type of. Yes. So reroll charge more reliably deals more damage than sustained hits. Okay. That I did not know. I've not done the math hammer on it yet. I weren't intending to either because somebody else has definitely done it. And as you've quite blatantly shown for me, Francois, thank you for the work. And then it comes to, again, an example for the Terminators to come if they were to move and shoot with them only having 4 left in the standard squad plus the Librarian. They've split fire, so they shot both the Barbgaunts and the Von Ryan's Leapers. And Terminator Captain moved forward, so hopefully he's in charge range for the next one. Then they charge him down here to try and take out these, and if they've got any sense, these will be going into the little Termagants. Depending who wins. If you've got your nice friends to play, then that is awesome. You get to decide who wins. Now, before I get to putting these together, going back to issue 12, let's have a look at issues 14 and 15. So issue 14 is going to be Rakarth Flesh, which I do have somewhere. It must be in the box over there. And also Screamer Pink, which I also have in the box over there. So that's going to be the next issue at issue 14. Issue 15 is an entire model. This is not split over 2. We are getting the full Psychophage, which is quite a large bug, to say the least. Here's a very large bug. So that's a nice little issue that for a £10 issue. For a nice large bug gives, I think it's a feel no pain it gives around the board to anything within 6 inches, I think. We shall double check once we actually get that issue of the magazine, because it's going to have to give us rules for it because we don't have them at the moment. So, back to issue 12. This is the issue where it told us how to put them all together. But it didn't give us this sprue last time. So, we can actually put them all together now. We could have put some of them together anyway, but not all of them. So we need numbers 1 and 2, which are, there's number 2, and number 1 is that one. So number 1 is pretty much a full body, number 2 is the back. So this is just to show us that we can actually put them all together now. This is the sprue we got today, and you would have needed it for number 1. If you'd have followed the rest of the magazine from issue 12, you will have a couple already together already. Yeah, it might give you. I know the problem with this game, Francois, is because it is a dice-based game. Sometimes the dice just aren't in your favor, and you can stack it as well as you want. You can stack it so everything's hitting on 2s, everything's wounded on 2s, everything's saving on 2s, nothing's getting close to you, and all you roll all game is 1s. The very nature of this game makes it absolutely infuriating. So one time you really need to roll 6s to get that extra. So I just need that one extra hit, sustained hit. These 4 Stormbolters, one of them's got to roll a 6. Just let me finish off the unit, and no, it doesn't. I've been on both ends of that, both the infuriating side and the thank goodness it works side. Warhammer 40,000, along with any other dice game, really, it's down to how many times you roll the dice. The more times you roll the dice, the more times you're going to get both the number you want and the number you don't want. Well, stacking the odds in your favour is always a good idea. There we have number 1. And number 2. I should just do I believe it's going to be the Sergeant for the first model, so I should just do the Sergeant. It is, but in this case, they put it on rapid fire weapons as well. You can put it on rapid fire weapons as well, so there's other ways to increase that volume of fire. Because it is Terminators that they've got to go with. You can't make it too. If they give it sustained hit 2 with storm bolters and missile launchers and assault cannons, it could become overpowered really quickly, especially on units that have 2+ save, 4+ invulnerable save, 3 wounds, and now getting if you was to give them sustained hits 2 on a rapid fire 2 weapon already. See, I quite like the sustained hits, if only for a good solid midfield. It needs to stand here and be able to at least shoot at stuff to stop anything annoying coming up, and the devastating wounds from the assault cannon helping to just give a little bit of threat at range for anything, really. I understand having the charge is a nice one, and probably having the chaplain, in all fairness, would probably be a better option, especially when it comes to melee. Giving +1 to wound in melee. I think I'll have to double check that one because he's not coming with combat patrol. I'll have to go into the codex for him. Well, I think it's +1 to wound from the chaplain, which is, I will agree, is a better option. No Terminator Lieutenant, so no lethal hits, which would have been better on much, much better than sustained hits, in my opinion. But no Terminator Lieutenant. You've got a Lieutenant bleeding everything else. Just no Terminator Lieutenant. Where is my codex? Where is my codex? Ah, there it is. The Terminator in Chaplain armor. Or Chaplain in Terminator armor, should I say. Captains, lieutenants, librarians, sustained hits ones, 4+ invul against. Each time that model makes a melee attack, add 1 to the wound roll. So that is pretty big. They also get a 4 of plus feel no pain against mortal wounds just by taking the chaplain in Terminator armor. Yeah, that +1 to wound is quite nice. He's only armed with a storm bolter, and his Crozius is about the same as a standard bloody force sword or a power weapon. Right, it's not as good as a force sword, and it's not as good as a power weapon. It's slightly stronger than a power weapon, but not as good AP and not as good damage. But his rule itself is a much better buff. Right, where else are we up to? We've done parts 1 and part 2 for Sergeant. So we've got part 3, which is the 2 shins and the tactical rock, with his little nubbiny bit so we can clip him onto the base. That one had a sprue bit, that one didn't, so be careful when you're clipping things off. And part 4, which is his sword arm, which isn't even on this sprue. And this is why they had to wait for both issues. You were unable to finish off the full unit because they spread it over 2 issues. Could have at least give you enough to build 3 of them, couldn't they? No. Because all the bases came with the last one, so you didn't get any bases. Which is not nice in this situation. Again, removing any mold lines or little sprue burrs. If you've got the mold line remover because you subscribe, that is a lot easier. And then his 2 shins should clip into, well, where his shins go on his legs. Well done there, lads. You've just stated the obvious. I'm good at that. So there we go. We have what should be 2 legs and a standing up sergeant. Because it's already positioned it with these for us, we know exactly where it's going to go in the base. It's got to line up the bloody holes and force it in. This is supposed to go in without glue, so force it in. Try not to damage the model though as you do it. Because even though it's relatively hard plastic, it still takes dents and nicks, and that's why I use my nice big flat tooth. And just push that up there. Okay, so he's nicely in. Now get the arm. Removing sprue burrs and mold lines, and this is why I shaved this one down, just to give me that option for tiny little bits like this that pains to get to. Just punch the model. Oh well, he's a Terminator, he can take it. A lot of repetitive processes. I will give it this much for this hobby. A lot of repetitive processes. Why some people find it therapeutic, and some people just don't understand. It's like, what on earth? No, don't get it. See, there we go. Same arm. So once you've done number 4, you clip out parts 5 and 6, which are actually his gun. So part 6 is a very small section of his gun, which I've got a feeling he's going to be on here. 16, 20 steps. There it is, part 6. So it's half of his storm bolt. And that will happen a few times. So, for instance, 25 and 26 is half a storm bolter. 16, so that means there's going to be another half somewhere. 15, there you go, which is the other half of the storm bolter. So a few of them do pair up, and not always in the way that you want them to. This is why I didn't start putting them together last week, just in case certain parts were missing and I didn't want scattered models. Now it's 5 on this. Yeah, you see 5 on the sprue we got today, which is the actual arm with the other half of the storm bolter. As a business model, they've kind of got it right to make sure you keep buying the issues, haven't they? Or at least the issues that you want. Now I'm expecting a lot of issues later on to get sold out quickly, particularly the Chaplain on a Bike and the Parasite of Mortrex, both of them being ridiculously good value for money. if you collect both factions, then both are good value for money. But if you only collect one, then yeah, nice little infiltrating scout model to go along with your Von Ryan's Leapers, because you're not getting the Neural Elixir, which I thought they might have give you. But no, they're giving you the Parasite of Mortrex instead, which will do. It's sufficient. It's a nice little side unit to go with the Von Ryan's Leapers, just like the Neural Elixir would be. And why is this? That's not going in there for some reason. It looks to be like there's an extra little bit of a plastic burr on the inside. Oh, excuse me, sorry. There we go. So that's the arm, and there's both arms on. So it's just the head now. In this case, it is number 8. So in this case, it is this head with this really odd angled piece of sprue that's going to, or peg that's going to hold the head in place. So it's not exactly a straight pin, which will make it all the easier for us to insert the head into the body. Because we know we like putting things in at stupid, ridiculous angles. And there we go. So we have another variant of a Terminator Sergeant. And you'll have the rest of the sprues there to continue on. So once you've done number 8, put the head in, it continues with the Sergeant. And then it follows through 9 and 10, 11. Right. It doesn't so much say that that's piece number 12, but my head tells me that this piece here is not going to be number 12. I'm just going to search through, make sure no other shin guards come through at part number 12. No, 21, 22, 31, 32. So yeah, I would hazard a guess that shin guard, the right shin guard on the one that's not labelled, is part number 12. So 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 make up Power Fist, 15, 16 make up Stormbolter, 17 makes up his head. 18 is a little bit of battlefield debris on the base. And then it starts through 19, 20, 21, 22, making up the shin guards. 23, 24 making up the Power Fist. 25, 26 to make up the Stormbolter. 27 is his head. Then 28 and 29 are going to be 2 separate parts of the body. 30 is going to be the backpack part of the body. So it's going to be 3 pieces. Oh, the EV logo's in the way there. So it's going to be 3 pieces to make up 28, 29, and 30 to make up the body section. 31 and 32 again make up the shin guards. 4 pieces in total for the arms. The back of the Power Fist along with the arm. The side of the Stormbolter along with the arm clipping on. And 37 and 38. 37 being the head. 38 being an extra little bit of base decoration. And then I should leave only one more, which should take you all the way up to part number 49, I believe. And then part 50 will be the teleport home on its own, which should come with a smaller base. It should come on a much smaller base. Just a 25mm with a single dot in it. I don't seem to be able to spot my 25mm base. It's not in the wrapper. It's not on here. Well, luckily I have one here to be able to show you that it does actually go onto a 25mm base with just one little stopper thing there. Nice and easy. So once you've run through building all your models, you will then, as I say, colour it all, as the magazine says anyway. I say do it however you want, but colour it all blue. Silver pieces round where all the other Marines have silver pieces, so around the pipes, weapons, magazines, backs of guns, gold, all the retributor armor on the bullets, the Aquila, silver, white on the shoulder pads, the knees, and except for the sergeant in their case, everybody else gets their face painted white with the two little silver dots and silver pieces up the back. So eventually it should look like a somewhat painted model by the time you get there. But now, next week is paints. So I'm going to put the rest of these together off camera just because it's boring watching me doing this. Next week's paints. The week after is the psychophage. As I said earlier on in the video, if you want to have a look what's coming throughout the entire release, there is a post up in my Discord for you to have a look through. Thank you all for coming this morning, and I'm going to go find out what that loud noise was. Catch you all later and drive safe. Thank you very much.